Have you ever seen those old circus videos of lions and tigers being tamed by nothing but a simple chair and whip and think, why doesn't the lion just simply knock the chair away and do what they want? I mean, they have the potential to do so, however they remain there, just dumbfounded and at a distance, forced to do whatever the ringmaster commands. So the reason is actually quite simple. Let's pretend for a moment that this little old camera stand is a chair, right? And I'm going like this with it. Where do your eyes go? Depending on how I might be moving it, your eyes might go to any of these 3 points. Now, of course, with the lion and the chair, there's 4 legs to the chair and 4 points the lion is then tracking. And even though, yeah, the lion could just swipe away that chair without any real consequence, because let's face it, it's a lion and this all between him and the ringmaster is this flimsy little chair, the fact it's focusing on 4 points overwhelms it. The strange thing is that the lion is not really tamed by any type of action, but is instead tamed by anxiety. And to be honest, we really aren't that much different. How many times have you sat down to get work done only just to sit there for like an hour without making any real progress? Because I can say it's definitely happened to me. There have been many times I've thought about what I need to get done, and instead of actually focusing it down and getting it done, I instead find some reason to, I don't know, pick up my phone and just start scrolling through, doing laundry, because of course, you know, that's got to get done right away, right? A lot of times we'll find reasons to avoid the responsibilities we need to get done because we've just simply allowed them to overwhelm us. Like the line with the chair, you know, we have all these points that we need to confront and we just don't know where to begin. But also, like the chair, the reality is that this challenge that we're facing is not nearly as insurmountable as we might actually believe. Tell me, do you know what this puzzle is of? You might be able to gather somewhat of an idea, but probably not a clear vision of the whole picture. It's only when we take a step back do we really see it in its entirety. The reason we become so paralyzed is because even though, yeah, we can chew gum and walk at the same time, when it comes to organizing tasks in our head, we have a limit. And eventually it will always end up getting muddled. The only way we're going to actually be able to prioritize what needs to be done when it needs to be done is if we take that step back. Take that step back and look at the whole picture. The big question, of course, though, is how do we do it? Well, we could start with the easiest and most effective method, which is, of course, just write it down. Or type it, I guess. Just whatever you prefer. Just get it out there. Listen, if you try and focus all this stuff down in your head alone, you're going to be no different than the circus lion trying to focus down the chair. There are just too many things going on at one time. You're not going to be able to focus them all down efficiently. And at some point, you will be paralyzed because you will be overwhelmed. Writing something out really does free up more space in our mind, allowing us to actually really focus down each individual problem more effectively. And more importantly, it helps you put everything into perspective on what needs to get done now versus what needs to get done maybe a little later. There's a great quote by Frank Sonnenberg. If everything's a priority, then nothing is a priority. And there's some serious truth in that statement. It's great that we have everything written down and we now know what needs to be done, but the question's still there, in what order do we even do it in? We have to realize that just jumping into the fray might sound good, but unless we prioritize things, we'll simply be wasting time, unable to get a firm grasp on what's truly needed now versus what can be scheduled out for later. And I'm terribly guilty of this, alright? I have so many ideas and projects I have all written out, and there's some times where I forget to properly schedule my time out, and I'll get up in the morning just ready to jump right into something, except I wind up back at square one. I'll sit there for a good 15-20 minutes trying to decide which project I should be working on instead of having that figured out beforehand. And to be frank, it's caused me to waste time I simply do not have. Mostly because of this little fella. Wave at the camera, buddy. Wave at the camera. Really take some time to look at your list. Try to figure out what needs to be done now, what can be scheduled off towards later, and to be honest, what you might have to just cut out. Life throws so much at us, and a lot of us with good hearts really just want to keep saying yes to everything. But you need to realize you can't do everything. You have to learn when you need to say no and free yourself of an unneeded commitment. They might seem good, but as the saying goes, don't let good become the enemy of great. Now, one of the issues you really might end up facing is when you have that list in front of you and you're really trying to figure out, okay, what can be done now? What should be done later? What do I need to really just cut off completely? You get to a task and wonder, is this really what is needed now? Can I actually schedule this out further? Do I really need to cut it out? And you just kind of get stuck with that one task, not knowing what you should do with it. And here's a point where having a good group of people around you can be just immensely helpful. I have been very fortunate to have great friends, family members, and mentors who have helped me along the way, people I can bounce ideas off of, and more importantly, get advice from. The thing to remember is, even if someone is unfamiliar with the exact thing you might be working on, they can still have great input, which is why I want you to do something for me real quick. I want to ask you a question. What has helped you become more organized and more productive? All right, please let me know in the comments below. I really would love to hear from you, and I'm sure many other people out there would love to hear the advice as well. Either way, I want to thank you so much for watching, and I hope to be seeing you again real soon.